Okay, so I wanted to do a test of printing the digital trees on different types of papers so you can see how the results turned out. So if you've been following along in the blog post, you know that these are the original plastic trees from Ellie Edwards, and these are the ones that I have taken out of the package. These are the ones that I have left. They have gold foil on them, and they are fairly thick plastic. I mean, they're thin, but they're sturdy. So for my printing test, I printed on 4 different types of paper. So I have 2 different types of vellum. I have a canvas, and I have two different types of vellum and 2 different types of canvas. And I will show you those as we walk through it. So my first up was this vellum that I purchased from Amazon. It's by Graphics, and I will link that in the blog post. This is a 30-pound clear inkjet printable vellum. There's 50 sheets. They're 8.5 by 11, and they're acid free. And this is, move these out of the way. This is what this looks like printed on this Graphics vellum. So the sheets are fairly flexible. It's fairly thin. Excuse me. You can sort of see my hand through it. But I really like this vellum. It printed very crisp images. And so I'm excited to cut these out and see what I can do with those. And so we'll move on to the next vellum. And the next vellum I also ordered from Amazon. This is a 36-pound, so it's a little bit thicker. 50 sheets per pack again, 8.5 by 11, acid-free and recyclable, which is handy if you need to know that. And this one is definitely more thicker. It feels almost like a piece of paper. And if I run my hand behind it, you can see shadows, but you don't see as much translucency through this. Definitely a thicker page. And I don't think that the printing is as crisp on this vellum personally. I think it does look a little blurrier, and I think that has to do with the texture of the paper. It does not say there's a right side or a wrong side, and I may try, another test, but this is not my favorite vellum for printing the trees. I would actually go with the first vellum, depending on how you're going to use it. So that's vellum number 2. Let's go to our canvas paper. This is an inkjet art paper I did order from Amazon as well. It has, it's 125-pound canvas, 8.5 by 11, and there's 10 sheets of this. So I don't print on canvas very often, but it is an option. And it creates a really neat effect. So this canvas does have 2, I was showing you how you can divide it up into 4 by 6 sheets here if you wanted to cut it and print it on a smaller printer, because I do put it through my Epson PM400. But for this purpose, I printed the full sheet again, and I love the texture. This canvas is a little creamy, and it does have little flecks in it, which I think gives it a little bit of character, a little bit of rustic character. So the printing turned out really super crisp and clear. So I'm really happy with this. So that's canvas number 1. And then canvas number 2 is actually an art pad that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. It is also acid free. There's 10 sheets. They are a little bit larger, so they're 9 by 12, and I did have to cut them down to 8.5 by 11 to run them through my printer. And they have 2 sides to them. So when you open up the pad, let's put it down here so you can see. When you open up the pad, there's definitely a very rough surface to the canvas paper on one side. And then this side, when you flip it over, is a very smooth textured canvas. When I was playing around with these in my printer for my test, the smooth side is actually the side you want to print on in your printer. So you don't want to print on the rough textured side because that actually doesn't turn out very well with your ink. But if you print on the smooth side, the ink does absorb into the paper. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is the same trees printed on the canvas art pad paper. And if I zoom in again, it doesn't have the same flex to it. And the base of it is actually white. Or like a creamy white. Maybe it's not just definitely a true white, but it's very close. You can see the desk here. So really super happy with this look because I like this canvas texture. It looks a little bit more like a fabric than the actual canvas here where you can see like the ridges, and so I think you can see the difference there in the close-up. So that is my little review of printing on different types of paper, the canvas and the vellum. And now I'm going to play around with these trees and these paint markers that I picked up at Hobby Lobby as well. So they are metallic, 2-piece. This one is a fine tip silver and gold, and this one is a medium tip silver and gold. So I'm going to play around with those and try and add some gold accents to the trees that I printed out and see how that turns out.